Item number one, the City Council will confer with its labor negotiator with respect to labor negotiations pertaining to A, memorandum of understanding between the City and City of Commerce Employees Association on behalf of the part-time employees, B, MOU on behalf of the mid-management and non-management full-time employees, C, compensation and benefits for the unrepresented full-time executive management employees. Item number two, conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated potential litigation, one matter.
Thank you, Lena. And at this time, we'll go to closed session. Thank you. Okay, we're now reconvened from closed session. And legal counsel, could we get a report, please?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. With all members of the City Council being present, minus our Vice Mayor Altamirano, the City Council met in closed session, discussed the following items. City Council discussed item 1C. City staff made a presentation. The council provided direction. No final reportable action was taken. City Council discussed item number 2. City staff made a presentation. The council provided direction. No final reportable action was taken. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, legal counsel. And at this time, we're going to call the regular city council meeting to order. And can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Garcia,
Here.
Councilmember Linus,
Here.
Councilmember Ribur,
Here.
and Mayor Guimedo.
Here. And for the record, one of our colleagues, our Vice Mayor Altamirano, could not be here today due to some flight delays that he's having getting back from Sacramento. And at this time, we're going to have, could we get everybody to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance by our Acting Director of Economic Development and Planning, Molinar Esparza, and our invocation by our Councilmember Linus.
My apologies. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We are gathered here this evening with a shared purpose. While each of us arrive as individuals with independent thoughts, experiences, and ideas, let us continue our pursuit for progress and work together to fulfill the needs of our city. To our residential and business stakeholders who request assistance and offer their concerns and ideas, we are grateful for your partnership and trust in the civic process. May we also acknowledge our staff who work hard to keep our city operating and provide a quality level of service. We appreciate your continued efforts. To my colleagues on the dais, may we listen, debate, and choose a path forward out of a sincere desire to serve and honor our constituents and future of the model city. Let our decisions be guided by wisdom, compassion, and a shared commitment to the well-being of our city and our people. Thank you.
Thank you both. We're going to move to public comment at this time. I have 2 cards.
One card is for the public hearing, item number 9.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right, so we have 1 card, and we have, can we have Sylvia Cisneros please come up?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sylvia Cisneros, Senior Librarian from the City of Commerce Public Library. Most people correlate libraries with one thing, books. But libraries are evolving to become lenders of much more. In recent years, the Library of Things movement has become a growing trend in libraries across the world. Broadly speaking, it describes a collection of objects that can be borrowed from our library and can include everything from kitchen appliances, craft supplies, musical instruments, and much more. Our City of Commerce Public Library wants to be on board along many other libraries in the nation. Therefore, we are adding this new service to our library. Effective tomorrow, Wednesday, August 23rd, our library will be introducing our first ever Library of Things with a new toy collection. Yes, you heard that right. Our community will be able to check and borrow toys at the library. We have decided to begin catering our youth and parents first. We understand that playing with toys helps children of all ages, including building relationships, be creative, use language, think and solve problems, and use small and large muscles. Play also helps children learn important mathematical, literacy, and scientific skills in a playful way. Toys and items from our collection have been carefully selected to be inclusive and cater different needs. For example, we have selected some items that will help our children with autism and other special needs. Among some of the items that can be borrowed are soundproof headphones and soothing weighted lap pads to help them be calm and relaxed. These toys or items will be specifically labeled for easier access. How will this work? Anyone over the age of 18 with a library card will be able to borrow 2 toys per card, and we will be able to keep the toys for 14 days. Once returned, staff will clean and sanitize the toys following the CDC guidelines before putting them back on shelves, and families can meanwhile borrow other new toys. At the moment, this collection will be available at Rosewood Library. Patrons from other neighborhoods can access our online catalog, research toys or toy to get a list of the toys available. They will be able to place a hold, and we will send them to their branch location that they would desire. Our toy collection will help parents save money, and children will be introduced to new toys on a regular basis for free. We encourage you and all of our residents of Commerce to take advantage of this new service that your library is bringing to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation on the new program. I think it's something that will be very well received by many of our parents out there. But just a quick question, and you don't have to come back up. It's going to be more of a comment. I know I have one of those childs that likes to, he's rough on toys. You know, I'm just wondering about that. Like, let's say a toy gets checked out and it doesn't come back in a proper order, let's say, for it to be reused again.
So some of the toys, of course, come with multiple pieces. We won't charge you for using pieces. If there's a broken toy that returns or cannot be reused at all, then patrons will be able to use it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for your comments, and I think it'll be a great program, very well received by the community, and look forward to seeing how that works. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to consent calendar, but I believe we've pulled some items. There's some items that we're tabling, Edgar, if you don't mind.
Correct, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council, and public coworkers. So we are going to ask that the City Council approve item number 2 and only number 2 under the consent agenda. And then we will pull number 3 to scheduled matters right after the sergeant's presentation. And we are tabling item number 4 this evening, so it will not be presented or considered by the City Council. And we will also table item number 6 for a future meeting so that we can reconvene when we have a full City Council, if okay with the City Council. As far as item number 1 goes, you are right, that's also part of the consent calendar that would stay. So consent item number 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Number 3, moving to schedule, pulling number 4 to table from consent and the agenda altogether. We can also address number 6. I wanted to give you that sneak preview, but we can also address that separately if the City Council has any questions.
Okay. Okay, so at this time, items, we will need a motion to approve consent calendar items number 1 and number 2.
Mayor, if there are no questions from the City Council, I would like to motion to approve items 1 and 2 from the consent calendar.
We have a motion,
Second.
is there a second? We have a motion
I'll
and a
second.
second. All in favor?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor. And with the council's permission, we'll have the sergeant's update as number 5, and then we'll have Ms. Neela present item number 3.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor,
Schedule.
excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I apologize. For clarification purposes, I may have missed it, but are we doing item number 3 right now?
Item number 3, if you'd like to, I was gonna have the sergeant come up first, but if you
We're moving it out of the order, is that what we're doing?
we pulled it from.
Okay, I
consent,
didn't
Yeah.
catch that part, I'm sorry, go
And
ahead.
4
I
was
apologize.
tabled.
So let's go ahead and continue with the presentation by our sergeant, and then we'll move to item number 3.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, sorry, I was confusing, so it's gonna be 537, right? Unless the City Council has a question on 6, but we don't intend to present this evening. Wow.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members, Sergeant Duarte. So I'm going to be providing statistics and reports for Commerce from August 1st to date to August 21st. We had 1 rape, we had 0 robberies, 3 burglaries, 1 was a residential, 1 was during the day, and 2 were unknown times. There was a total of 18 thefts, 5 were grand thefts, which means greater than $950. 6 were from vehicles. 7 were petty thefts. Most of them are for convenience stores. Auto thefts, we had 15, and we didn't have any arsons. That's going to be for Commerce. For Maywood, they had 4 aggravated assaults, no rapes, no homicides, 1 robbery, 3 burglaries, 2 residential, 1 during the night, 1 during the day, 1 unknown, and 1 during the night. Other thefts was 2, 1 grand theft, and then 1 petty theft, 4 auto thefts. That's gonna be for Maywood. And then for the city of Cudahy, we're gonna have 0 homicides, 0 rapes, 8 aggravated assaults, no robberies, no burglaries. Other thefts is gonna be 5. We had 3 from vehicles, 2 petty thefts. Auto thefts is gonna be 4, and no arsons. For the East LA unincorporated area, they had 1 homicide, 3 rapes, 8 aggravated assaults, 4 robberies, 1 armed, 3 other weapons, burglaries 5, residential 3, 2 during night, 1 during the day. Others were 2. Other thefts were 19. We had 9 grand thefts and 10 petty thefts. Auto thefts 27. And then arrests-wise, from August 1st through the 21st, we had 20 misdemeanor arrests and 15 felony arrests. That's all the information I have for you today, if you have any questions.
Thank you. Sergeant, is there any comments, any questions, members of the City Council? Seeing none, we thank you for your report and look forward to your next report.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let's go ahead and have a motion to receive and file the report, please. We have a motion and I need a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you all. And now we'll go ahead and move to item number 3.
And we'll have Gina presenting, and, you know, again, as a reminder, she'll be doing 3, 7, and 8, because we tabled 6.
Mayor, council members, good evening. I'm presenting on the recommendation that staff is presenting to council this evening to consider adopting a resolution to approve a professional services agreement with GHD Incorporated to provide professional planning, environmental design, and construction engineering support services for the Randolph Corridor Active Transportation Project. If you recall, this was a 100% grant-funded project in the amount of $6.7 million for 4 agencies, including Commerce, Cities of Bell, Huntington Park, and Los Angeles County. The project will provide a high-quality mobility improvements to residents and businesses of these cities. For Commerce in particular, it will encompass the area between Garfield Avenue and the 710 freeway. The entire project length is 6.83 miles. Commerce's section of that 6.83 is 2.34 miles. That would be improvements to the City of Commerce. City of Commerce does serve as the lead agency for these 4 coordinated, joint effort. The project is estimated to require about 3 years to complete. So we would be looking through completion through 25-26 fiscal year. It's expected in the design portion that we are recommending award tonight would be about a 9 to 12 month process to complete the design before we move into construction phase. So on May 9th of 2023, City Council authorized a request for proposal to be processed. We received at that time, proposals for project management services, and that was awarded through to South Star. All 4 cities meet regularly. All 4 cities reviewed those proposals, and we're in agreement to make that award. Council did award that agreement. Now with this new RFP that was issued on May 24th of this year for the planning, environmental design, and construction support services, once again, all 4 agencies met, reviewed the proposals, and agreed with the recommendation that we are making this evening to award to GHD Incorporated. So we had initially received 6 proposals, reviewed and agreed that GHD was the lowest responsible bidder, and staff recommends that council consider awarding this agreement this evening so that we may begin the design phase of this project. As I said, it's 100% funded through Metro. So, but it is based on reimbursement, so council had made an allocation through the Measure AA in order to support the cost until which time we can submit reports through our project manager, South Star, and be reimbursed for the expenses to date.
Thank you, Tina. Is there any questions, any comments, members of the City Council? Councilwoman Rebollo?
I just have a quick question, because I'm a visual learner, and I'm having a hard time visualizing, because you said Randolph from Garfield to the 710? Is that what you
Yes.
said? But I'm picturing it in my mind, and I'm not placing it, because Randolph goes
May I?
from, where is it on here?
No, this is from something previous.
Oh,
May I?
okay, yes, please. Because the map here that I see has Randolph going to the 710, and I'm,
For City of Commerce's section, and then continuing through the city of Bell, a portion of LA County, and through Huntington Park.
but we cut
And-
off, right?
Yes.
It doesn't go straight through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's what needs to be worked out through the design phase, which we're
Okay.
here this evening. So I just wanted to show that, because I know visuals sometimes help.
No, it's
But
not-
yes, it is.
it's on
All
here, this
those
one.
details will be worked out as far as for each city, the impacts, what improvements
Okay.
will impact their cities, what's available to their cities based on what's in that segment.
Mm-hmm.
But we would be looking at the entire length of almost 7 miles worth.
Okay, because for Commerce, it's just the part that's in between Garfield and Eastern, yes?
Garfield and yes,
That's it, right? That would be the
Yes.
only part that,
yeah.
We work
Just
on?
over 2 miles.
Okay.
of Commerce.
that's what I was getting at. Okay, that was
Yes.
it. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for going through the report, Gina. Question for you. So obviously, we're looking at the professional services agreement for various phases of the project as it relates to the design and implementation, because there's 4 different agencies that are involved, right? How is that going to work as far as approvals? Are we only approving the design for our jurisdiction? Are we looking at the project at large once the time comes that the design is brought in front of us?
Yeah, each city, I would think at that point, would be taking it to their respective councils to have their sections approved for the design.
Okay.
So the designer will be working with all 4 agencies. And by the time we get to that final design, it would have been vetted through each of the agencies.
Okay, got it. So it will be, I guess, the project is going to be looked at as a whole, right?
Yes.
You know, but then each agency will receive their respective portions for consideration.
Yes.
Right. Okay, thank you for that. And then I think the next question I have is, you know, this is a grant, this is a project that's 100%, you know, grant funded, which is great. Are there specific elements that this project needs to contain? You know, there are mobility improvements, right? So it's pedestrian improvements, a bike lane that goes about 7 miles, right?
Yes, those are things that we would be looking at with the designer for each of those segments in each of the respective areas. But
Those elements
the
are mandatory, right, in order for us to obtain or get reimbursed?
The expectation is yes,
Yeah.
that they would be looking at those mobility types that would include bike lanes and would include improvements to, you know, bus stops and pedestrian walkways.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to confirm. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Council member? No questions? I don't have any questions on that, so thank you for your presentation on this item. A motion would be in order if there's no additional comments or questions.
Mayor?
Oh.
Oh, yeah, Mayor, I'll move to approve per the recommendation in the staff report.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gina. I think you're still up here. No?
Yeah. Speed humps, 7.
We're moving
Okay.
quickly.
Thank
I
you.
can't leave my spot. All right.
All right, so we're going to move to item number 7, which is a presentation on speed hump installation on Trigg Street between McDonald Avenue and I-5 freeway entrance.
Yes. So this evening, council will consider a resolution approving the installation of speed humps and other traffic improvements on Trigg Street between McDonald Avenue and the I-5 freeway entrance. Staff received a request to install speed humps and flashing stop signs to address speeding concerns along this segment. Staff completed the evaluation and presented the item to the Traffic Commission on July 12th of this year, 2023. And the segment of Trigg Street met most of the speed hump criteria. However, the intersections of Trigg Street at McDonald Avenue and Trigg Street at the I-5 freeway ramp did not qualify for the installation of flashing stop signs due to low numbers of collisions at each of the intersections. As a result, the Traffic Commission made a motion recommending City Council approve the speed hump installation on Trigg Street as well as additional traffic improvements at the intersections. And those improvements would include 2 sets of speed humps along Trigg Street, starting at the frontage of where you enter Bristow Park and ending at the alley to the east side of Bristow Park, with associated speed hump signage and pavement markings as we've done elsewhere. And then number 2, improvements would also be other traffic safety improvements to install larger stop signs with all-way plaque and red reflective strips on the post at the intersections of Trigg Street at McDonald Avenue and Trigg Street at the I-5 ramp. Required advanced warning signs, refresh all existing pavement markings, and remove existing 30-inch pavement legend along Triggs at the east end of McDonald Avenue for eastbound traffic. Staff recommends approval of this resolution so that we may install these traffic improvements.
Thank you, Gina. Is there any comments, questions, members of the City Council?
Do Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Arroyo?
Just for clarification purposes, Gina, what does low number of collisions mean? Can you kind of explain that? You said the stop sign can't go in that intersection because there's been too many accidents?
Number of collision, yeah, unfortunately, it's based on if there's a high frequency of collisions there, then that.
Then we can't put a stop sign?
No,
The flashing sign?
yes.
Got it.
Yes, no.
I was
let me
totally
clarify.
confused. Okay.
There are stop signs.
Okay.
We're gonna do the enlarged stop signs, much larger stop signs with a reflective strip
Uh-huh.
on the post. But yes, the others are based on number of collisions, and there actually is a
What's
very,
the,
like trigger.
yeah, what,
It really depends. It's really per street, per traffic volume. There on Triggs, despite the kind of issues that we've seen with
Mhm.
speeding, there's fortunately not been accidents based on that. So we are recommending, and we discussed with Traffic Commission, and they felt that, you know what, speed humps definitely is an improvement to slow down the speed and to have larger stop signs and the reflective, so they agreed with that. Now, of course, it's always at the discretion of council. If council also wants flashing stop signs, these are our recommendations, but council can certainly ask if they want to have those added as well.
the recommendation or the formula that is used to determine the, I guess, flashing signs to accidents, like, are we basing it off, like, highway patrol? Like, what, who's
Yes.
making this recommendation?
Yes,
Is it
highway-
staff? Like, what is it?
Yes, the number of collisions are reported to the state. We get the data from the state on particular segments for certain times.
Mhm.
You know, we study them over peak times, different times, you know, different days of the week to see, you know, what's the pattern here? Is there something that's really highlighting that there's a real issue, and how to address that? So in this particular case, we weren't seeing the high number of collisions occurring at this area,
Mhm.
so we didn't escalate it to the flashing stop.
Okay. That's it. I'm
Thank
still
you.
kind of confused, but I'll go ahead and pass the couple
It
for now.
didn't meet the requirement for it to be to be required to be installed if it was being recommended. It didn't meet
No,
the
I understand
threshold.
that portion. I just don't understand the formulaic part of what does this have to do with this? And that's what I'm having trouble understanding. But we don't need to discuss that right now. But thank you.
No, I think it's important. Can you try to clarify that and explain it a little so that we all understand?
Certainly. I mean, we can certainly provide more information to council and perhaps even have, you know, some information provided through the city manager's office to help understand, you know, these situations. We do recommend speed humps. We
Right.
do recommend enlarged stop signs. When it comes to flashing ones, we're looking at, you know, how dark is it? Is it well lit? Is there a well lit street there? You know, have there in the past months or years, because we can go back as far as, you know, we need to,
Mhm.
how many accidents have occurred, the severity of the types of accidents. Is it just, you know, little bumper? Is it, you know, fatality at the other end? So we're looking at what types of accidents, the severity, the frequency. And for this particular segment, you know, we saw that there was enough as far as when we're doing traffic counts, when we're out there observing what's going on, we
Mhm.
see the speeding, we see the length that between stop signs, that there's a segment of the street that you can start escalating your speed. So for that particular segment, we think that the best mode to slow it down would be speed humps. The flashing will tell you there's a stop sign up ahead, but the speed humps is what's really going to slow
Mhm.
them down for this segment, and we're recommending that 2 of them be added.
Okay. No, I definitely agree with the speed humps,
Yeah.
especially right outside of our
It's
park.
a park. Exactly. It's a park. It's a type of facility that, you know, has a lot of children, and so we do recommend that, and traffic commission certainly agree that for that particular site, that stretch, that's probably the best traffic calming that we can recommend at this time for that particular area.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Thank you. Questions? No questions?
I have a question.
Councilmember Garcia?
I mean, this is just out of curiosity. How many speed humps do we have throughout the city?
Ooh, I couldn't name how many exactly. We've been adding a lot in the past probably 4 years, so I can certainly get that number for you.
Okay. And you said that you recommend the speed humps, that that's our best option.
Yes.
Nothing else would be better, like
we would
maybe, I don't
be-
know what they're called, the little bumps on the ground instead of the speed
Oh,
humps?
yeah. No, the speed humps are the best method for slowing down traffic in that area. It's worked elsewhere. People have gotten used to them. They know where to slow down once they've gone through there a couple of times. Some of that speeding probably is being done by local residents in the area. Once they hit that speed hump, they're going to realize they got to slow down now, and they're going to get used to, oh, now it's on trigs. Now I can't just speed through like I used to get to the freeway. I do think that is your best method to slow down traffic there.
I'd like to see other options next time too. Just, I think we have enough speed humps. And maybe we can look at other options. Thank you
Okay.
for your presentation.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, Gina.
Okay.
I just wanted to follow up real quick on our guidelines related to speed humps. I know that when we do them in a residential area, you need 75%, I think it is, of the residents in that area. In this case, there isn't any, is that right?
Correct.
So now that comes for us to make a decision on that as It was recommended by the Traffic Commission to us,
Yes.
and we'll make the final decision on it. When it comes to that stop sign, I mean, I think all of us are very familiar with it, and I think it's warranted that we do something in that area for all of the obvious reasons that you've already covered and we've made comments about. But related to that specific stop sign, I've been through there when it's dark, and it's difficult to see. That stop sign is difficult to see, so I'm hoping that you're able to either come up with a different way to make sure that that stop sign is visible, which you've already are addressing because you're making it larger. But, you know, in a way, it's not bad that it's flashing, because that definitely is going to draw your attention to the fact that there's a stop sign there. And the other part of that reason is that it's an entrance to the I-5 freeway.
Yes.
So there's a lot of folks that get redirected to go through there. So therefore, a lot of them would go through there that may not be familiar with the area, and that could potentially lead to a potential problem, you know, if it's not as visible. So I'm just pointing these things out, so I'm hoping that we're able to address that. It is dark, and with the lighting of Denny's, which is, it's right along the Denny's,
Yes.
it kind of gets lost in that, and that's why I wanted to point that out. So I'm hoping that we can either do proper lighting there,
Okay.
a light for that specific sign, or if we move in a direction of, I realize it doesn't meet the criteria or the guidelines, but I believe that the council can decide that we'd like to install one. Is that right?
You can. So
Okay.
if you direct me to install a flashing stop sign, then I can do that.
All right. If the council would be okay, I would like that we do that. I really do think in this particular case, I think it's warranted. And I think it would serve, you know, it would serve those that are utilizing that route well. And we can also use it to see how well it works out for potentially other areas of highly, highly traveled, areas where we might benefit. But I really do think that it would be a benefit to those that use that route. So at this time, if there's no additional comments or questions, I would entertain a motion to approve staff's recommendation, which is outlined in our report, but I would like to include that we go ahead and move forward with the flashing stop sign, the lights on the stop sign.
Mr. Mayor, if I may just ask a
Yes,
question.
please.
If we do that, I would like to know what the legal implications are, as it relates to, so I remember we had something like this on the agenda. I don't remember how far back, but it was installing a stop sign somewhere. And then, there was a recommendation against it. And then and I could be remembering it wrong, but I remember we were told something like, we can do it, but if there were to be an accident, the city's liable because there was a recommendation against it, something like that. Are we in that same situation here, legal counsel? I mean, and I guess anywhere where there's an accident, right, the city could be liable for anything, but is that kind of the same type of situation here?
Yeah, I'm not sure, Councilwoman. Where this is more common is with speed humps, where you have certain design criteria, and it's outlined in the staff report, the different policies and collision data and average daily traffic. If you were to put speed humps where the data doesn't support it, and if there were an accident, then you potentially could be liable for damages resulting from that accident. Now, as far as a stop sign that's flashing, I'm not sure. So if we need a definitive answer on that, like I cannot give it tonight, so I would have to come back with the answer to that question. I don't know.
Can we get the information just on that particular thing and move?
Tell
Can
you
we
what.
move the item with that caveat?
I
or-
tell you what, Councilmember Linus had a good recommendation, and I alluded to it, maybe just the lighting, better lighting. Can we make sure that we address that as part of this motion here, or this recommendation?
Well,
Yeah,
Oh,
he
you
wants
do
the
think-
flashing sign, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I think it's a good idea. I just want to
Okay.
make sure that what
All right,
we're
I thought
doing
you were saying
doesn't have any
lighting.
legal
Okay.
implications as it
My
relates
apologies.
to,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, but, you know, because we've all identified different intersections and areas where we need to see flashing, stop signs. But I just want to make sure that, yeah, just the legal
Okay.
implications, if there was data for it, if there isn't, what are we doing here?
Certainly.
That's just it.
Okay, if I may, we have a separate project that is looking at the citywide lighting improvement master plan and are developing that master plan. So we meet regularly with that consultant, and we will be coming back to council with a citywide, you know, lighting master plan and recommendations. So I can certainly fold that into that, unless you want us to just look at that intersection, or if you want us to just make sure that it's included in that assessment.
You know,
What is your pleasure?
Mr. Mayor, if I may? Maybe
Yeah.
one way we could do it is, you could approve it conditionally with the
Right.
flashing stop sign, and to the extent staff, in consultation with legal, finds that it's not appropriate, then we wouldn't
I
do
like
it as
that.
part of this approval.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Yeah. A motion would be in order at this time.
So I would move with staff's recommendation and legal's recommendation. Can I say it that way? Yeah. With the recommendation by legal counsel.
And I'll second it.
Okay.
Thanks,
Okay,
Kevin.
you have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Gina, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your,
Okay,
And I
I'm not
believe-
going anywhere yet.
that's right. We're not gonna let you go anywhere. All right, let's see. Item number 8, which is the construction contract with Danny Lettner, Inc., DBA Lettner Roofing Company for the Senior Citizen Center and Bandini Park re-roofing project.
Yes, timely, even though it's August, right? But council had approved a capital improvement program for this current fiscal year, which included an allocation of Measure AA funds of $1 million for re-roofing. And at that time, you had indicated that the top priority was senior center and Bandini facility building to be re-roofed. So we advertised a bid packet on July 27th of 2023. We received 5 bids and opened those on August 14th. The lowest responsible bidder is Danny Lettner, doing business as Lettner Roofing Company at a bid amount of $659,700. The project includes asbestos abatement of a portion of the senior center building and restoration of the roofing system at the senior center in Bandini Park with a cool energy efficiency roofing system and 20-year warranty. It also includes a replacement of an existing metal roof panels and standing seam at Bandini Park as an additive bid item. Staff anticipates the work would begin somewhere in mid-September and completed by the end of October. Before this strange weather pattern we just experienced, we were really trying to rush this one to beat the rainy season. So the total project cost would be $834,520.50. That does include construction contingency of 15% and construction management inspection cost. As I said previously, the money is already allocated in our CIP program of $1 million, so we do not need any additional funding. We just need to award the contract so we can get going on this one.
Any questions? If not, a motion, you have a question, yes, please.
I do. Well, the facilities need to be closed during the construction. Is it happening
No.
late hours or?
No, they won't need to be closed. We'll stage it so that there's always a door open and available for access. Senior Center has the 2 access doors, so we may, you know, depending on how we stage it, probably have this side door open. Maybe the front one at certain days may not be accessible, but there'll always be a facility open with one of the doors at least.
Okay, but this project doesn't pose a safety concern?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we will work those out with the contractor. We certainly wouldn't do anything that's unsafe, and you know, we can certainly report back once we've engaged with the contractor and actually executed this contract, and we can get a schedule and figure out how we're going to stage the work, and then we'll be meeting with the Parks and Recreation Director to make sure that, you know, all programming can continue, and, you know, we coordinate weekly, Greg Adeliniz and I, so that we can continue programming wherever we're doing projects. So if there's any update that's necessary, we'll certainly provide that to council and also to anybody that's impacted.
Got it, but the contractor has been advised that the intent is to keep the facilities open during the project?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, if not, a motion would be in order to approve the recommendation in the staff report.
Mayor, if everyone's in agreement, I'll move to approve per the recommendation in the staff report.
Second?
We have a
No,
motion
third.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yeah.
Any opposed? Seeing none, motion passes. Thank you, and thank you for your reports.
Thank you, Gina.
All right, at this point, we're going to move to item number 9. And this is for first reading of an uncodified ordinance approving development agreement related to application number 18-052.
Sorry about that. Hello, good evening, Mayor and council members. Tonight we'll be presenting introduction of first reading of an ordinance to approve development agreement related to commercial cannabis permit application number 18-052. And this is a continuation from August 8th, council meeting August 8th, 2023. Tonight's request is to consider the application for a development agreement for DJCC Corporation, and that is being considered here tonight. Public hearing notice was issued for City Council's consideration regarding a change of ownership to Edward Ed Novshad and an increase in the square footage of the cannabis activity, originally 10,000 square feet to 16,000 square feet, for ordinance number 722 published in Los Cerritos News on July 28th, 2023. Notices were also mailed to property owners located within 500 feet of the project site in accordance with the City of Commerce's municipal code. Some background on this item: adopted in October of 2018, ordinance number 700 established a commercial cannabis regulations for the city. It allows for the processing of the commercial cannabis permit program, and it also established by which development agreements would control the permitting process. DA number 722 requests for a change of ownership and an increase in cannabis activity square footage from approximately 10,000 square feet to approximately 16,579. Some of the uses include manufacturing, distribution, and cultivation, and the location for this site is 5350-80 East Washington Boulevard. And background on this particular item is on October 18, 2018, David Jew and Joyce Choi originally submitted a commercial cannabis permit application where owner David Jew submitted a formal letter that stated that he was selling DJCC Corporation to Mr. Mohammed Amir Hajibi in February 2019. Mr. Amir Hajibi requested a change of location at a proposed address on 5333 East Slauson. City Council adopted ordinance number 739 on January 7, 2020 to approve the change. However, on July 7, 2020, the City Council took action to repeal all 11 ordinances, including number 739, due to qualified referendum petitions that were submitted against them. Following the referendum, development agreement number 722, along with 20 other development agreements, were legally challenged via lawsuit due to a procedural defect. The court ruled on behalf of the petitioner and found that the 21 development agreements were invalid due to a procedural defect which DJCC Corp failed to cure. On October 19, 2021, City Council considered the disqualification of DJCC Corp due to failure to sign the development agreement number 722 and failure to pay CCP related fees. Ordinance number 722 included a relocation clause that stipulated the city could request the applicant to move 2 years after the effective date of the development agreement. After DJCC's testimony, City Council made the decision to continue the item to the next council meeting on November 1st, 2021, on the condition that the applicant submit all past due fees. On October 27th, 2021, DJCC Corp. Submitted all payments that had previously been delinquent. Their request to reinstate development agreement number 722 was approved during a council meeting on November 1st, 2021. Following the meeting, the development agreement was never executed. On January 31st, 2023, Rob Catherman, a representative of David Jew and Joyce Choi, the original applicants on record for DJCC Corporation, wrote to staff requesting to reinstate the previous development agreement for ordinance number 722. According to Mr. Catherman, Muhammad Amir Hajibi, the previously approved owner of DJCC Corp., defaulted on his purchase of the company in July 2022. And this is found as part of the attachment, so today's agenda. CCP staff received documents to support the representative's claim, which included a termination of stock and sale and purchase agreement, and a letter of Mr. Amir Hajibi from David Jew canceling the purchase escrow on July 1st, 2022. The new development agreement application shows a request for a change of ownership to reflect Mr. Edward Ed Novshad as the new owner of DJCC Corp. and an increase in square footage from 10,000 square feet to 16,000 square feet in cannabis activity. On March 15, 2023, CCP staff emailed again Mr. Amir Hajibi and his representative stating that the city is prepared to proceed with the request of David Jew based on the termination of stock and sale and purchase that was signed by Muhammad Amir Hajibi on February 20th, 2023, which voiced ordinance number 722. No further communication was made since. On July 19, 2023, during the city's planning commission meeting, Mr. Edward Novshad and the original applicant, Mr. David Jew, gave a public testimony regarding their proposed development agreement. During the meeting, they requested for the commission to recommend reducing or eliminating their non-operating fees and requested a consideration to modify the development agreement's relocation provision and allow DJCC to receive agency approvals to commence operations. The Planning Commission adopted a resolution recommending that the City Council adopt an ordinance applicant number 18-052 on July 19, 2023. The Planning Commission was also able to acknowledge the request for revisions from the applicant. And additionally, during this Planning Commission meeting, though the request was made by the applicants, the Planning Commission was not able to recommend approval of both of the recommended items that the proposed applicant stated. And it should also be noted that staff is currently in the process of analyzing several changes to the city's cannabis program, including possible reductions to the city's overall fees for commercial cannabis programs, for commercial cannabis operators to align and be comparable to the current fee structures that are newly implemented in neighboring cities. The removal of the relocation provision from the development agreements for cannabis businesses located in the city's housing overlay zone may be a potential program-wide modification that the City Council may consider at a future date. Staff will conduct additional analysis regarding the feasibility of the applicant's proposed revisions to the development agreement. At this time, staff does not recommend approval of the applicant's proposed revisions to the development agreement in order to ensure that DJCC's development agreement remains consistent with all similar current development agreements that we have here in the city. The requested action for tonight's item is, can you go back? Thank you. To make a determination whether to waive full reading and introduce for first reading by title only a proposed uncodified ordinance related to the application number 18-052, which was recommended for City Council's approval by the Planning Commission. 2, make a determination regarding denial or approval by introduction and first reading of uncodified ordinance, finding that the development agreement is exempt from further CEQA review pursuant to Government Code Section 15301A Class 1 existing facilities because the development agreement includes a project that consists of small additions, expansions, and alterations for existing structures and/or uses, and pursuant to said findings, direct staff to prepare and file corresponding notice of exemption, and make a determination regarding denial or approval by introduction of and first reading of an uncodified ordinance approving the findings consistent and pursuant to Government Code Section 65867.5, and approve the conditions of approval also as incorporated into the development agreement. And lastly, to direct staff to assign a number for the adopted ordinance and development agreement. That is all. Any questions?
Is there any questions, members of the City Council? No questions. Okay. There being none, I guess appropriate direction would be
It's a public hearing item. Can we
Oh.
open public hearing and also have a card from the
my
applicant?
apologies, yes. We'll declare the public hearing open at this time. And we did have a request to speak. We have Mr. Ed Novacek.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Edward Novshad. First of all, thank you for giving the opportunity to talk tonight and be part of your business community of commerce. I will be investing a lot of money into this business, and previously state license gave us temporary license to be able to start operating, but now it takes about a year to year and a half, and that's the reason I'm requesting for the operational fees to be reduced or eliminated. Also for the relocation clause, I will be investing great amount of money, millions of dollars, into building this business, and for the city to give me 2 years for relocation, that will be a very big burden on myself. So I'm asking for this city council to at least give me 10 years for the relocation clause instead of 2. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
What's the amount of time, and you're requesting how many years? 10 years?
Yes, currently the relocation clause is 2 years. So I'm asking at least give me 10 years, because I will be putting a lot of time and money into this for me to be able to recur my money. I get my money before you guys ask me to move again. Then I have to go move and find a new location and rebuild everything from zero again.
Thank you. Okay. Got you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, the relocation provision in this development agreement is found in several other development agreements with operators that have chosen to locate within the city's housing overlay zone. Operators that have chosen sites outside of the housing overlay zone do not have this relocation provision. So this provision is intended to protect the city's potential recruitment of developers' investment into the housing overlay zone, and the operators who have chosen to locate in that zone have all understood that this is something that's in our development agreements. So every other operator that's been approved in that zone has that relocation provision. To my understanding, the city hasn't exercised that right yet, and I can't imagine the city would do so lightly in the event that it did. But again, just wanted to give context that all the other operators in that same zone have that relocation provision. And with respect to the monthly operating fees, every other DA has that provision. So it's my recommendation. It's been something that staff that we've worked to create uniform development agreements with terms so that we're not perceived to, give someone similarly situated a different deal, whether it's worse, better, or otherwise. So that is staff's recommendation, is to not approve the requested modifications. And as staff presented, these are modifications that city staff is planning to bring to the council at a future date that would potentially apply citywide, program-wide, to everybody that's in the program. So again, just wanted to provide that context. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you providing that information, and I think it's valuable context as we move forward with the program. And I do concur and agree that making a decision based on one applicant or one item before us could obviously affect everything else without having fully reviewed the program and making the appropriate changes once it's reviewed, and hopefully we can come up with something that makes sense for everybody. But I concur with your comments, legal counsel. Thank you. Any questions, members of City Council?
Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
Giselle, can you please go over how many companies we have in that area that we're talking about now? On that same street,
On that same street, though, we do have those that have been approved for a development agreement. We only have a total, not in that same street, but we have 8 that are currently operating throughout the City of Commerce. As far as on the same street, I'll have to double check to see if I can get that exact figure, but I could imagine it would be far less than 8 that are currently operating.
How many, I'm sorry?
8, less than 8.
In total, but you don't know about the same
I don't know
street?
exactly within that area.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be 3 operators that are in that, along Washington Boulevard.
Okay, thank you. That's my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Councilmember Linus?
Mayor, no questions, but I think there was a lot of work that has gone into developing the ordinance and just some of the guidelines and policies that go behind it. So I think we do need to be equal, and I think we do need to heed the advice of our legal counsel. And if there's something that we're going to look at citywide, then let's address it then. But I think, from my perspective, I think we need to approach everything equally and uphold the same standards. So those are my comments.
Thank you. If there's no additional comments, I believe we can close the hearing at this time. Is there anybody wishing to address this item? Nobody? Okay. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. And now would be appropriate, I guess, for a motion at this time. And I believe staff has got a recommendation. The recommendation is outlined in your report, and it's comprised of items 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That is correct. But we do have the staff's recommendation here. So I believe along with that, if you go through it, yeah, it's outlined in each of these from 1 through number 5. If you'd like some time to go through them, that would be fine.
Mayor, if I may, I have a question.
Sure.
So legal counsel and maybe Giselle, ultimately the recommendation here, right, if this were to be approved, specifically like items 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? We're approving it without the revisions that the applicant is requesting, correct?
So it should also be noted that City Council has a discretion to approve the development agreement recommended by staff or approve the development agreements with modifications. However, I will direct it to our city attorney to see whether or not how we can word that.
I'm sorry, I was speaking to staff. Can you ask the question again, Councilmember Linus?
Sure. Ultimately, because we can't just say we want to move per the staff report, right? So ultimately, there needs to be a determination on items 2 and 3 where we do have to make a choice, but ultimately, what's up for consideration, right, is the development agreement absent of the revisions that the applicant is making, correct?
That's correct. That's I was just confirming with our interim director or acting director of planning that it is staff's recommendation to approve the development agreement and to make the determination to waive full reading and to approve the development agreement. So I think that would be the way to, if there's a recommendation, I mean, if there's a motion to approve, I would say there'd be a motion to approve pursuant to staff's recommendations.
But again, you didn't clarify his question. His question is, if we move on staff's recommendations, are we moving and approving it with the
Absent of the revisions that the
Correct.
applicant is requesting.
I'm sorry, Mayor. That is correct. Staff is not recommending the proposed amendments to the development agreement. So the recommendation is to approve the way that they've been presented prior to the way it was presented to the Planning Commission, which is without the recommended removal of the relocation provision and without a modification to the monthly non-operation fees.
Okay, and the reason I'm asking is because item 2 and 3 specifically have a decision points. They have decision points, right? Denial or approval, denial or approval. And so I just want to make sure that we're cautious about this as we're moving forward.
That's correct. And so I wanted to make that clear that the staff's recommendation is to approve.
on items 2 and
Items number, yes, it's to, number 1 would be to waive the full reading and introduce the ordinance by title only, to approve the CEQA exemption, to approve and make the findings, and number 3, to approve the conditions of approval, and to direct staff to assign a number to the ordinance.
Okay, all right, and thank you for clarifying that, Councilmember, and asking that question. So I guess technically, besides us just making a approving staff's recommendation, we need to be specific with regards to item number 2 and number 3.
That's
Whether
correct.
we're approving or denying on those 2 items. So why don't we just, to simplify things, let's just make it easier and let's move through this particular item. Let's go through, let's take a motion for item number 1 on staff's recommendation. So a motion would be in order to approve as recommended by staff.
For the first item?
Correct.
So moved.
Item number 1. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second.
Sorry, let me clarify. I'll move to, I'll move to approve staff recommendation number 1 as it states on the staff report.
Thank you. We have a motion and we have a second. And let's take a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Garcia,
Abstain.
Councilmember Linus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ribur,
Yes.
and Mayor Guimeda.
Yes. Let's go to item number 2, and this is where we're going to need, again, a motion to approve or deny in this particular item number 2. Do we have a motion?
So if I may, Mayor, the motion would be to approve a determination that the development agreement is exempt from CEQA pursuant to CEQA 15301. It's an exemption for existing facilities.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Mayor, I'll move to approve item number 2 by introduction and first reading of an uncodified ordinance finding the development agreement is exempt from further CEQA review pursuant to Administrative Code, Title 14, Chapter 3, Section 15301A, Class 1, Existing Facilities. Does that suffice, legal counsel?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Garcia,
Abstain.
Councilmember Linus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ribur,
Yes.
and Mayor Guimeda.
Yes. Item number 3, make a determination regarding denial or approval by introduction and first reading of an uncodified ordinance approving the findings consistent with and pursuant to Government Code Section 65867.5. I think that's it. Yeah.
Mayor, I'll move to approve by introduction and first reading of an uncodified ordinance approving the findings consistent with and pursuant to Government Code Section 65867.5.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Garcia,
Abstain.
Councilmember Linus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ribur,
Yes.
and Mayor Guimella.
Yes. Okay, item number 4 would be to approve the conditions of approval as also incorporated into the development agreement. Can we get a motion on that?
I'll move to approve the conditions of approval as incorporated into the development agreement.
And I'd like a second on that, please. I'll second that. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Garcia,
Abstain.
Councilmember Linus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ribur,
Yes.
and Mayor Guimella.
Yes. And last item on this, on this particular item, it would be to item number 5, which we direct staff to assign a number for the adopted ordinance and development agreement.
Mayor, I'll move to direct staff to assign a number for the adopted ordinance and development agreement.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. I'm sorry, let's get roll call, please.
Councilmember Garcia,
Abstain.
Councilmember Linus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ribur,
Yes.
and Mayor Guimella.
Yes. This concludes this item. Motion
I will
passes.
read the title of the ordinance.
Please.
An uncodified ordinance of the City Council of the City of Commerce approving and adopting development agreement, also identified as commercial cannabis permit ID number 18-052 between the City of Commerce and DJCC Corporation, a California corporation, for commercial cannabis business at 5350-80 East Washington Boulevard, Commerce, California, making findings consistent with and pursuant to Government Code Section 65867.5 and making findings of the CEQA categorical exemption.
Thank you, Lena. This concludes this item, and I believe this concludes our agenda. At this point, we're going to go to City Council and reports, please. Can I start to my left with Councilmember Rebollo, please?
Can you come back to me? I'm sorry.
Sure.
Collecting my thoughts.
Councilmember Garcia, are you ready?
Yes. I attended the Back to School Bash. That was a wonderful event. Thanks to Parks and Rec that put an event put together very well. It was well attended. It was a fun event with all your activities. And I was also part of passing out the backpacks. Thank you for the invite. It was fun. I also like to talk about our Public Works Department. I want to thank the Public Works Department for doing a great job this past weekend, putting up the sandbags for Hurricane Hillary. I was able to help and try properly fill the sandbags with the mayor, Mr. Mayor Gumero, trying to shovel the sand into the bags. Then we placed the bags into a pile for the residents to pick up. I most definitely pulled a muscle. The group did an outstanding job. They worked fast and with nonstop. I enjoyed spending time getting to know the staff and a little more as well as the community. Thank you, Public Works, for your hard work, the teamwork you displayed, and the exceptional work you provided for the city residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Garcia. Councilmember Linus?
Thank you, Mayor. I also attended the Back to School event on August 11th, so I do want to thank Parks and Rec and all city departments that helped contribute and execute such a great event. I love Wreck-It Ralph too, so being able to see that on the screen was a treat for me and my kids, so thank you for that. While I wasn't able to attend their banquet, I do want to congratulate the Commerce Aces on a great year. Thank you to the Aces for representing our city here in the region and also at the tournaments you've participated in the past year. Really appreciate your accomplishments and playing hard. And I'd like to echo the Councilwoman's sentiments. I do want to thank our Public Works team for their hard work to supply our community with sandbags, and ensuring that our roads were as safe as possible by taking care of the trees, the branches, inspecting our city facilities pre-tropical storm, but just doing all the work just to ensure that, the damage was mitigated, right? And I think it was overall, so fantastic work and really appreciate everything that was put in. It was really spur of the moment, right? Really abrupt. So really, really appreciate the Public Works team, and thank you for your work there, Gina, as well. And that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councilmember Linus and Councilmember Rebollo.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank the library staff. Hearing the report earlier, I couldn't help but smile from ear to ear. I think that our library has moved way past from what it used to be when I was a kid, where you can go in only to check out a book and you have to sit there quietly. It has definitely evolved from that, and to hear now that you can, check out toys, and I believe I heard appliances for adults, if I'm correct, or something for young adults. And that's just really, it's honestly really fascinating just to see where our library has evolved. So thank you for always continuing to keep the community engaged, whether it be through books or music or now toys. I know that during the school year, sometimes there's also like school supplies that they can rent out, poster board, markers, and I think it's just really incredible. So I want to thank the library staff for that. And I know at the last council meeting, I was completely exhausted, but I also wanted to thank you for just a wonderful summer reading program. It was really, really just fascinating to attend some of those music events, and my mom absolutely loved it too. So thank you for all that. I too just want to thank Public Works for their dedication to keeping our community safe, and during this crazy storm. I know that everybody worked so hard, whether it was putting sandbags together to making sure that there was road signs where there was flooding. We were very fortunate that we didn't have too much damage to the city. So thank you, Public Works, and our tree I don't know what we call him, but Hector and his crew and Nick, for ensuring that whenever there's a branch down, that they were there to collect it. But also I want to thank our bus operators who were operating during that window of time as well, because it's, I think we look at our employees and, they should be at home, right, safe and sound with their families, but they're out providing a service for our community. So I want to say thank you for that. As was mentioned before by Councilmember Lainez, I too was unable to attend the ACES banquet, but I thank you for the invitation, and I just thank you for such a great season. I'm looking forward to the new season. And Parks and Rec, what can I say? Back to School Bash was awesome, as usual. It's been really just cool to see the community come out again. I would like to see the luchadores again, like last year. We missed the luchadores this year. We were hoping that they were going to come back. That was something that was cool, a cool addition to our Back to School Bash. And just thank you to the continued community partners that make it possible for the children of our community to have backpacks and to have markers and to have crayons and to have the supplies that they need and the tools that they need to succeed at school. With that, good luck to all of our scholars, whether it be from preschool to high school to college to grad school. Congratulations and good luck in this upcoming school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rebollo. And I'll echo many of what's already been covered. Absolutely great job on that Back to School Bash. Thank you to our director and all of your staff who worked very diligently in putting that event together. You guys did an outstanding job, and well received by all those that were in attendance. Heard nothing but positive comments. That was great. So again, thank you. And I had an opportunity to attend the IBEW. They have an event, barbecue, at their facility here in Commerce, and it was very nice. A lot of good food there, and actually just a good time talking to the various IBEW Local 11 leadership and a lot of the folks that attended the event. I also had an opportunity to attend a meeting with the City of Los Angeles Mayor, Mayor Bass, and it was also attended by our supervisor, Janice Hahn, and and was attended by several other mayors from other cities. I hope I don't leave any of them out, but City of Bell, Huntington Park, Cudahy, Pico Rivera, Bell Gardens, El Monte, and Maywood, thank you. Maywood and Vernon, yeah. And it was a great meeting. This is the first time since I've been an elected official that we actually had an invite to attend a meeting with the mayor of the city of LA. And it was good. I accepted it. I was like, wow, this is great that we're going to be meeting with the mayor of LA. And she was very, very gracious. And as you know, she's very passionate about a particular item, related to homelessness. So we had an opportunity to have a lot of discussion related to that subject. And, we heard from everybody. Everybody provided input. But more than anything, it was just a good opportunity for us to sit down and talk. I think what she wanted to do was just, hey, we're all part of, it's not just City of LA, but we're all part of this whole region, and let's sit down and let's just talk, and let's talk about common problems and potential ideas for addressing, coming up with different ways to resolve the different issues that we're dealing with. So it was a very, very nice meeting. It was I think everybody left with a very positive feeling about the meeting, and I certainly appreciated it, and so did many of the other members that were present. One of the things that I really took away from the meeting was she made a comment, and as you know, she's served on the at the state level, and she's also been up in Congress, so she brings a great deal of experience with her. But one of the things she mentioned is that we, city of LA and this region, we actually have a lot of elected officials. We have a lot of leverage, and she feels that we're not fully utilizing it when it comes to getting adequate resources from the state. And we have a lot of, we really have a lot of pull, but we're not using it collectively when we go up to the state. And she was basically saying, hey, there's a lot more of us than there is of a lot of the other areas, and we need to leverage it and try to utilize that to bring additional resources to our region, to our area, which made a lot of sense to me. And I hope it resonated with everybody else, but I certainly caught that. And I like that, and I'm hoping that we can continue that dialogue as we move forward, because I think it's important and very relevant to us, hopefully securing additional resources and funds for the future for our region. So just wanted to share that with all of you. It was a very nice meeting. And I think that concludes my report. No, it doesn't. Let me just talk about what our councilwoman just talked about. And I want to thank Gina, your staff, Public Works. They were amazing this weekend. And of course, all of our staff, our city manager and our assistant city manager, because I know that, we were on the phone having discussions related to, hey, what are we doing? What's the status of things in preparation for this past weekend, which, thank goodness it didn't turn out as bad for us. It was, we got rain, we got wind, but overall I think we did pretty well. But I want to thank all of you for doing all of the work necessary, checking things beforehand, making sure we had the sandbags, the sand, and the staff to distribute all of that, and we were pleased to be there. I want to thank my colleagues, Councilmember Rebollo and also Kevin Linus, because even though they were unavailable, they were still communicating. They were also sending updates and making sure people had enough information, and I think it really helped. People were responding and reacting to some of the posts that they were seeing. But overall, thank you. Staff did a wonderful job. All of you collectively put a great plan together, and I think it worked out well. So we really want to thank you all for the great job that you did in preparing and making sure that you were available to respond and react to any needs that the community had. Again, thank you, and I think that'll conclude.
Before you conclude, may I say something?
Yes, please.
I'd like to say that I also attended the ACES as well as you did banquet. It was put together well. Thank you guys for doing the banquet award. That was really nice. And Mayor, I really didn't know you had it in you. You were helping out the Public Works, putting the sandbags in there. I think I was out after 1 or 2 bags. I was done. My back was done. But you did a great job. I thought, just you were there just for hours, and I couldn't believe it. No, I mean I can, but it was a lot of work.
Yeah, thank you. It was a lot of acting on my part, but okay. No, it was fun. It was good to work with our staff and see the hard work that they put into doing the work that they do out there. It's not easy work. So, thank you. And also, when we adjourn, we'll be adjourning in memory of Eli, and I hope I pronounce his name properly, Burjon. Eli Burjon, and he worked for Steven Steakhouse for many years, 50+ years. And he just recently passed away, I believe, over the weekend. And so we are adjourning our meeting in his honor. Many of you have probably met and talked to him, and he was probably the guy that you coordinated events with, or he welcomed you as you walked into Steven Steakhouse. He was there for many years. So we'll be adjourning in his honor. I'll forward you the information, City Clerk. Thank you, and at this point, our meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.